Will is on his way. He's going to Frilligan's house because he needs to use his microphone.
Okay,
So
so
he'll,
what's the plan then?
we'll just talk what we've been up to until he arrives. He shouldn't be too long.
Okay.
So what have you been up to?
That's a good question. Oh, here we go. Here's a good story for you. So yesterday, Jörn Simmons, handsome Jörn Simmons, hosted his first dating show on Twitch.
Okay.
The
How does
Jörn
that work?
Simmons Thirst Trap love show. And 8 contestants were fighting for the love of one Mad Kurt.
Wow.
Uh, it
Eight,
was
really? They managed to get 8 people?
they managed to drag 8 people onto the show, I think. No. But yeah, it was really good. And I was so Kurt had lifelines. Mad Kurt had lifelines. And so he could ask the audience, he could ask the host, or he could ask tailor-made Aiden Taylor. And I had to give him love advice. Or like advice on who I think should be eliminated, etc. And so
Did he find love? Did he?
oh, it was amazing. So the gimmick of this show is right. All these people are trying to win the heart of Mad Kurt, but it's called Thirst Trap because at the very end, it's like they could have chosen at the beginning. They had a questionnaire, and one of the questions is, "Are you here for thirst? You know, are you here for Mad Kurt, or are you here as a trap to sort of just get rid of all the other competitors and just basically screw them all over?" So one by one, there was like a bunch of rounds, and each round one person would be eliminated until one person was left. And at the end, they revealed, did that person thirst for Kurt, or were they trying to trap it? So the winner was a lovely Twitch streamer called Ali, who
Wow.
ended up choosing thirst. Hooray! Everyone just went, yay!
Yeah.
And then she went, but I've got a boyfriend.
Yeah. Wow.
It was amazing. It was a great show.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think Jörn was super happy with it. Kurt had a great time. You know, he had 8 people arguing over who likes Kurt the most.
I bet he loved that.
Yeah, and there was a guy called Hunter who was fantastic. He was emotional, to say the least. He was fighting for Kurt's love.
That's his
And then
console.
they had to phone me, and I had to give Kurt advice on who I think he should have kept in and this and that. And it was tough. It was fun.
Are they going to do another one, like with another Rev Pro wrestler, or was that just a one-off?
Uh, no, so that was like a pilot to see how well it went. And
Oh, okay.
Jörn was, I think, like I say, I think he was happy with how well it done. There was a lot of people watching. And by the end of it, a lot of people were like, oh, Hunter should be a contestant. And Jörn was like, yeah. And Aiden should be his phone a friend again. So I guess it's just going to be phone Aiden Taylor for every dating show.
Wow.
So I don't get to be a contestant. I just have to tell everyone else. So it's pretty much like my regular life. I
Wow.
give everyone else advice, but no one comes for me.
Awesome. So where can the people see this stream?
So it's archived on Jörn Simmons'
Twitch.
twitch.tv slash, I believe, slash Jörn's. Is he? Yeah, Jörn Simmons. Um, it will go up on YouTube as well, I think. But yeah, it's on there.
So you're
Oh,
gonna friend zone him right away.
yeah, so it's up on twitch.tv slash Jörn Simmons at now. Yeah, 4 hours long.
Oh my God, 4 hours.
It flew by.
Jeez.
I was expecting this to be like an hour and a half thing, but you know, those people wanted Kurt's love.
Wow.
And there was a cute puppy called Hiccup that kept coming in. It was great.
See, I'm sure Mad Kurt loved the attention for 4 hours all in.
Yeah. What else have I been doing? I've been trying to perfect my run of Tomb Raider 2 on Twitch. I am now halfway through the game, like happy with my route that I'm using for speedruns.
Yeah.
I'm aiming to get around an hour for my time.
How long do you reckon it took you, like the very first time when you were a kid when you played it?
16, 17 hours.
Yes.
Yeah. I gave it a casual run this year where I just, tried to get as many items and unlockables as I could, like unlockables, secrets as I could. And that run was 9 hours.
Blimey.
So I'm trying to get that down to the world record is 48 minutes. I want to get to an hour. So yeah.
It amazes me how these people find so many exploits to like skip levels or skip routes.
Yeah. So in Tomb Raider 2, there's two main ones. There's a ladder glitch where if you make her go up a ladder, she does this weird swaying motion. And if you do that while near a wall, the animation sort of puts her into the wall. So you can let go and twist. And she'll sort of twist up and the game gets confused. So it just puts her on the nearest platform, which is always above.
This is what I mean. Like, who could possibly have found that like the first time around? Like, did they come across it by accident, or are they just trying to glitch through everything? Like, I never understand that.
I don't know how they discovered that one. There's one really weird one called QWOP. QWOP, which is based. It's called that because have you ever played the game QWOP?
Yeah, I played QWOP.
Yeah, it's the reason it's called it is because when you glitch, she does the look. She looks like she's doing the QWOP run.
Okay.
So, and the way you get that, okay, it's baffling. So I can do it every time now, but what essentially happens is you do a weird setup so that you jump at the same time you hit the corner of a wall, and the game sort of glitches and thinks that you're still falling while you're running.
Yeah.
So when you hit the jump button, it sort of embeds you into the floor like quicksand. And I've no idea because the setup for it is you stand next to this wall, you do a jump to the right, you backflip, you do a shimmy left, then you do one step forward, no more than one step. Then you have to pause and unpause the game to get a single frame movement left, and then do a running jump to the left. And I'm like, who thought that setup?
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
like I can understand the whole, if we can manage to, trick the game into think we're falling, but who thinks, to do that you do a quarter step left jump to 2 frames? I'm like, nope. The Ocarina of Time one where you can confuse the game to take you from the Deku Tree to Ganon's Tower.
At the end, by like backflipping through a wall or something.
Yeah, because they realize that the code resets to 0 at a certain point, and the 0 just happens to be Ganon's Tower. And so how do we? Yeah, I think it's like something like that, and they work their way backwards. But
truly, how Shigeru Miyamoto dreamt the game should be played, or how he intended.
Exactly. But yeah, it's got me on this big rabbit hole of all these different mods and things for other games, and I've started to. I have a growing love of randomizers in games now. So people break the code into games and insert random elements into each level. So like enemy placements, what enemy spawns where. What enemy spawns at the spawn locations will be completely random.
Amazing.
So like you play the same game essentially, but the enemy patterns are random and it adds a completely different twist to the game. So like in Tomb Raider, for example, I watched one run where a guy was in the Great Wall and 3 enemies ended up being T-Rexes.
I was going to ask, can you like replace regular enemies with a T-Rex?
Yes. So the room where there's supposed to be 2 spiders, the guy opens the door and there's 2 T-Rexes in there. That's been pretty much my week is writing in Tomb Raider and date shows. Hooray. How about you, sir?
Pretty much just work. We had wrestling training. We were back.
Oh, yes.
For the first time.
How was it, sir?
We're back to non-contact sessions now.
Mm-hmm.
So it was mainly cardio drills, rolls, bumps. We did do something a bit different. We got to practice coming off the top rope.
Ooh.
Never really practiced in a training session before, I must admit.
How do you mean coming off the top rope? Like a Ric Flair bump or just climbing?
I mean like do a move onto the crash pads.
Ooh.
Andy pretty much got us to he was trying to emphasize sense of urgency, so we were to imitate that our opponent just wouldn't stay down for long. Like he was a big, strong guy, and we had to take this opportunity to run up to the top rope and leap off with a flying maneuver. I, of course, used the default elbow drop, because that's like, you know, you don't give your creator wrestler a top rope move. That's what he defaults to. So,
I find people do frog splashes, especially at training. When people want to do the first move, the first thing they go for is, "I'll do a
Really?
frog splash," but then they don't know how to do a frog splash, and they just wind the hell out of it.
yeah. Oh, I always prefer a nice elbow drop because you can kind of like land nice and safely on your like, side, which I always feel is the most safe way to land, I guess.
Yeah, I've always like no one's ever taught me to do an elbow drop, and I like doing elbow drops. And my way of doing it when I'm on the ground is to take a massive jumping back bump and just put my elbow on them.
Yeah.
But when I do it from the top rope, I'm like,
do it from the angle.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
so do I.
I'm kind of uncomfortable with the amount of, because I don't know what it feels like to the other person. I have no idea how to judge it.
Yeah.
And of course, it's wrestling training, so everyone just goes, "Nah, it's fine, mate," don't they?
Yeah, I mean.
So how did you find jumping off and doing an elbow drop?
I wouldn't be adding it to my regular repertoire of moves. It's fine, but it's just like it's an elbow.
I reckon
drop.
for you, if you had like a big match against someone and that you pulled that out at towards the very end, it would be awesome. Like I'm just imagining like a you versus like a David match, you know, because your last one
that match happened, yeah. And yeah. I came off the middle rope. I came off Brett's rope with a terrible looking clothesline.
Okay.
I regret using now. I wish I could put a shoulder block or something.
I've been meaning to say this, but I honestly think instead of clotheslines, I reckon you should do shoulder blocks like tackles, because your shoulders are massive and it would look really impressive.
Much more impressive, yeah.
Like a Toge Makabe type thing.
Yeah.
Where he busts out a clothesline just when it's a last resort.
Yeah. Our guest has joined us. Hold on, I'll just invite him in.
Does that mean we have to stop saying bad things about him now?
Yeah, although it says it's Harry. I assume it's Will and Harry. He's joining.
Oh, this is how he sneaks his way onto the podcast.
There they are. Oh, no, still connecting.
Hang on, I think I can press the button.
We're recording.
Oh,
hello.
Will Castle and also Frilligan Milligan.
Frilligan Milligan is here. He's helped me set this up.
Oh my goodness! When you said you wanted to borrow his mic, I thought you meant like a terrible like plastic mic that comes free with the PC. This is a professional podcasting microphone.
Yeah, no, it's great. I can't see my face just past it, but I'll just sit. It's fine. It's a podcast. I don't need to see my face.
Oh, there's no video. Yeah. I see you going for the Jay White look.
Yes, I love his beard.
If anyone can't tell what Will Castle looks like, imagine if Jay White dyed his hair red.
That is big.
Yeah, that is exactly it. He's got the six-pack abs. He's 6 foot something. Yeah.
Sorry, Zoom just crashed there for a second.
Oh my God.
I don't know what I was there.
Yeah, how shredded has Jay White gotten recently? My goodness.
He's massive. He looks brilliant.
He posted a photo of what protein he's taking, and it's like
sponsored by them now. Must be.
It's like cookies and was it Fruity Pebbles flavors or something?
Yeah, Fruity Pebbles and like Cocoa Pebbles or something.
Yeah. Yeah, there it is. It's you're exactly right, Will. And to have that man's physique. There we go. Quick question for you then, Will. If you could have any wrestler's physique, who would you have?
Oh, God.
You can say Benjamin Black if you
want. I was kind of waiting. I'm surprised it's taking you this long to answer.
Well, obviously, big sexy Benny Black has got to be my top pick. Tell you who's got a really good physique. I think Pac. Is anyone else that looks quite as shredded as Pac right now? Maybe big sexy Benny Black. Maybe he's, they're up there. They're sort of on that tier together.
He is short though. I don't know. He's shredded.
He's not that short. He's not that short in person. He's
my height.
Massive. Yeah, that's not that short though, is it?
I'm 5'7".
I feel like
that's like the
muscle
adds
height a little bit. Like if you get like super muscular, it adds in like an inch of height.
Hello.
Sorry. Yeah, Zoom keeps crashing.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I think it might be your video that's doing it, because that's the only
Do you think? Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get rid of that. This is how.
There's a if you hover the
bottom
mouse
right.
over it, it will say video at the bottom left.
Oh wait, hang on. I think I see it. If I do that, yep, there we
Yeah,
go.
cool.
I don't think
So-
my computer can handle recording video and free audio sources at the same time. She's barely hanging in there.
Aren't we all?
Sorry, you guys were saying.
No. We were basically just making small talk while you came back.
Oh, okay. Well, please continue.
Oh no, we were talking about the dating show and how amazing I was.
Yes.
Will was just telling me how he thought I was the best part of it.
Oh, definitely. I'm sure I didn't watch. Definitely. I just know you were.
Yeah. Go on, tailor-made for it.
Cool. Well, I'm super excited because I have finally reunited the Weasel.
Oh,
Yes.
that long-lived tag team with our amazing 0-1 streak.
Yes. That was that. We have only had one match as a tag team, haven't we? Is it? only one?
And it was the match that I think has shortened my career significantly. I think I haven't told you this, Will, but because we haven't spoken this, but I had an X-ray on my neck a couple months ago, and they found a fracture.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm like 99% sure it's from that match.
Oh no.
Wait, you didn't tell me this. What do you think the fracture was from? What move?
A clothesline.
Oh, was it the one where it looked like you took it in the shoulder?
The very end, I got in the ring, and before I could turn, my opponent didn't wait for me and just swung a clothesline at the side of my head, and I got serious whiplash, and I heard a crack.
See, I thought you were gonna say, "Oh, it was from like a pile driver or a neck breaker or a DDT or something," but it always seems to be like simple moves.
Oh
that
yeah.
end up injuring you.
Oh, everyone, like Edge broke his ankle from a suplex.
Mm.
Well, yeah, and like Triple H tore his quad stepping into the ring.
Yeah, like you never get hurt from the moves that everyone moans about being dangerous.
Well, that's
Like,
what I
how
mean.
many people do you know
Very
about Canadian destroyers ending their career?
Yeah, Mick Foley
one-
got tossed
no one
off
would
the
think that.
Hell in a Cell was okay. But yeah, it just seems like scary, isn't it? Because just don't like it can happen at any time.
Running the ropes. Like
Yeah.
we were at training one time, I can't remember who it was, but they turned too early and then sort of went backwards, and they went in between the bottom, the middle and the top rope, and fell out and landed on their head.
Oh god.
And it was just because
there.
running the ropes. So yeah. But anyway, it's not about us. It's about Will Castle's journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically, Will, we want to know your life, well, not your life story. We've only got like 45 minutes left.
Wrestling life.
Wrestling life story, like where it all began for you, where you like first saw wrestling, and what drew you to become a professional wrestler. And might I say, one of the most talented professional wrestlers at the Portsmouth School of Wrestling. So,
Oh, I thank you. I'm flattered.
so yeah, take us through it, your earliest wrestling memory.
My earliest wrestling memory, God. Let's see. Well, I didn't get into wrestling until a bit later than most people do properly. I was always sort of aware of its existence when I was younger. I had a lot of friends and cousins that were quite into it. I don't think I started getting into it properly until I was probably about 12, maybe like 8 years ago. But no, I loved wrestling the second I first saw it. I was always just absolutely enthralled. That's a good word. Enthralled by wrestling. And then I think less than a year after I started watching wrestling was when I started training.
Jesus.
At Portsmouth School of Wrestling.
Do you remember like what your first like the first match you saw, or the first like real like thing that really implanted on you or made an impact, I should say?
You know, honestly, I don't think I do. I don't think I can pinpoint one moment that was it for me. A lot of people can, and I always feel weird when I say I don't. I really can't remember. What was the first match I saw? I don't know.
No, I wouldn't be able to tell you the first match I saw. Like the first match was on like Sunday Night Heat, and it would have been, I don't know, whoever was job, like Headbanger Mosh versus Crash Holly or something. Like hardly the most like romantic.
Do you not remember like the first visual that you saw, like of wrestling? Because I know mine was the WCW Nitro opening of the explosions and all that.
God, the first visual of wrestling I saw, I would have been very, very young. I wouldn't have even probably been into it again. I think I remember seeing The Undertaker on something at some point when I was like 5 and thinking, whoa, this guy's.
Whoa, this guy's old, man. He'll probably be retiring soon.
Yeah, that would have been like maybe 15 years ago. Maybe it was the first time I ever saw anything wrestling related. I always thought it was cool. I always thought it was like the cool thing when I was really little. Didn't have the energy to actually watch it apparently. But I thought it was
So,
cool.
what year would that have been then? Like, what era of wrestling was it when you got into it?
Oh man, when I properly got into it, like maybe just post brand split, like 2012 sort of time.
Oh wow! Because
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like when me and Ben got into wrestling, it was like hot, like the Attitude Era, like everyone knew about it. What was it like at your school when you were getting into wrestling? Was it talked about?
Yeah, it was definitely talked about. It's always been talked about. So I've always had friends that were into it. I've always had and kids would bring in like the wrestling toys and the big ring, and I'd join in with them for a little bit at school maybe. It was definitely talked about. It definitely wasn't overly popular. There was like maybe a couple groups of kids that talked about it.
And did you do matches while at school?
Did I do matches?
Yeah,
did I wrestle people at school?
Yeah, like did your school have like a fed going?
No, there wasn't. Unfortunately,
Wow, really?
I used to get together with some of my friends after school and wrestle on a trampoline for a bit. That's really all I can say about that.
See, like at my school, they pretty much banned any reference to wrestling because kids were killing each other on the playground, like power bombing each other on the like concrete and DDTing each other non-stop. Like wrestling became a very dirty word amongst the like teachers. Yeah, it was absolutely despised. Aidan, I'm assuming that there was similar feelings at your school.
Well, I told the story in this podcast before, but in case anyone hasn't heard it, wrestling was so popular at my school is they brought in a police officer to talk about the dangers of alcohol because they were afraid that kids would start drinking because Stone Cold was that popular. So they had to bring in a police officer to say, don't drink, even though Stone Cold does it, and you might think that he's the coolest. And yeah, we had like at the playground, I guess, well, it wasn't even playground, the field, we'd put on matches and stuff. And I always remember there was one kid that we were like, do you want to do the wrestling? And the kid was like, no, but I really want to be a referee. And we were all like, yes, we have a referee now.
Brilliant.
That was big deal.
Just like Harold Thrilligan, always wanted to be a referee.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. What was I'm trying to think, like, who was mega popular then with people at your school? It would have been like the John Cena's and Punks, would it?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, John Cena, Punk. I remember talking about it in school at a time when Shawn Michaels was still around.
Okay.
So yeah, it's that sort of era. So yeah, Cena, Randy Orton's always popular with kids.
It's weird that I always find strange. I guess it's the RKO is what they love. So like it doesn't really appeal. Like I can't see what else about him appeals to kids. He's a bit snake-like. He's really kind of like mean most of the time and like kind of a dick. Like I don't know what kids like about him. I guess it just must mostly be their finishing move.
I guess so.
tattoos,
The
maybe.
meme factor.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. I always thought Randy Orton was really cool. I think he's one of those guys that like he could just stand there and you think, yeah, this guy's cool.
Well, for us, that was Crash Holly.
Crash Holly.
Crash Holly was our radio. No.
The Houdini of hardcore.
Yeah. So what was the first pay-per-view you watched?
First pay-per-view I watched. That I can answer. It was Survivor Series 2012, the debut of The Shield.
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
That is how new I am to wrestling in the grand scheme.
Yeah, I was going to say, geez.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Well, that shows just how long ago the Shield was, I guess,
Yeah, I didn't really, like what. Yeah,
and how long they. Oh yeah. What I was. So let's go through the card then. So the first match you ever watched on pay-per-view was Brodus Clay, Justin Gabriel, Rey
oh
Mysterio,
my god.
Sin Cara, and Tyson Kidd versus Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Primo Epico, and Tensai.
Oh, what a mess.
Wow.
That would have been your first ever pay-per-view match, followed by Eve Torres versus Caitlyn,
Oh, what a classic.
which went longer than the following match, which was Cesaro versus R-Truth for the US belt. That was shorter than Eve Torres versus Caitlyn.
Oh.
Sheamus against Big Show.
Mm-hmm. That was a classic at the time. That was a classic rivalry.
Okay, and then the co-main event: Del Rio, Sandow, David Otunga, Ziggler, and Barrett versus Daniel Bryan, Kane, Kofi Kingston, Miz, and Randy Orton, with Mick Foley as captain.
Yes, I remember that. That I do remember. Oh, this is nostalgia. I've never gotten nostalgic about wrestling before. I haven't been into it long enough. You're giving me nostalgia.
Yeah, and the main event. What was the main event, Will?
Oh, the main event. I believe the main event was a triple threat match between John Cena, CM Punk, and Ryback.
Yes, it was in Punk's amazing championship reign. That is a good reign to start off on if you're watching as a fan.
Oh, I loved Punk at the time. I absolutely loved him. Still love him. I think he's still one of the best of his day.
Such a rebel. So what led you from? I know you can't remember the exact moment you wanted to become a wrestler, but what was your route to the Portsmouth School of Wrestling?
What was my route to the Portsmouth School of
Literally
Wrestling?
just type it into like wrestling school into Google and here you go, this is right down my street or whatever.
So pretty much exactly that. I can't remember when I was thinking about it, but there must have been there was a point definitely where I was thinking, I wonder how you get into this, and started just sort of googling it, and then there's a wrestling school 15 minutes from my house. Perfect. And I went, and the rest is history. That's it's all very simple and short. My early history of wrestling.
Was there a match or a thing that made you go, yes, that's what I want to do? Or was it like you say, from the moment you saw it, that's what you wanted to do?
No, yeah, it's the whole production of a wrestling show. It's the whole atmosphere of it for me. There's no one thing that sticks out. The whole of it is just it's what's the word I'm looking for? It's this grand sort of stage. It's quite unique. It's unlike anything else in the entire world. I absolutely am just completely in love with it. I always have been from like the second I started.
So who are the main guys that you gravitated towards then?
The main guys that I gravitated towards. God, I love CM Punk. I like anyone cool. You know, it's like I used to like cool wrestlers. When I was very little, I was like, oh, he looks cool, and he's got a cool finisher, like all the kids do. But then, of course, when I started hanging around a lot of wrestling people, quite like people that are very, very into it, like wrestling nerds, which is what I am now. But lost my train of thought. Where was I? Fuck, hang on.
That's cool. So was there so for me, for example, when I got into wrestling, it was tag teams that I liked. I was never really into the main event scene. What sort of guys were you a tag team fan? Were you like a cruiserweight? Like, I don't know whether cruiserweight's a thing then, or what sort of guys did you like? Was there a certain type match? Like, I can't remember. We had someone that said they didn't like gimmick matches, but they liked them as a kid. Like, was that a thing? Because our era gimmicks were like every so often, but I guess when you were watching, you had the monthly, like TLC is on this month and Money in the Bank is on this month. So I'm wondering how gimmick matches might appeal to you as opposed to us.
they appealed to me a lot, and they were sort of built up as like the match, as like the rivalry ender. It's the important thing that's happening. It was always something important happening in a gimmick match, never just a regular old match being important at that time. Which now these days I really enjoy a lot of technical wrestling, and I don't really watch gimmick matches all that often. But back then they were the match to watch.
Your tastes have matured as you've gotten older.
They have.
Gimmick matches are like the sugary sweets, and now you're kind of onto the savory cheese and wine of New Japan Pro Wrestling and so forth.
Yes.
Okay, how did you find New Japan?
How did I find New Japan? I knew. This is what I was saying. Oh yeah. I knew a lot of wrestling nerds all of a sudden when I started wrestling, and they would talk about this and that really cool indie show, and have you seen these Japanese people doing this really awesome stuff? And I'd be like, well, these guys are into it, so it must be great. And I started looking it all up, and got really, really into indie wrestling. Then got really, really into old school wrestling, just watching things on like YouTube and wherever I can find them. I think the first New Japan show I watched was Wrestle Kingdom 9.
Oh, that's a good one.
What was the main event of that?
The main event of that was, I believe, it was Okada and Tanahashi.
Ah.
And just before that, was my favorite match on the show, Shinsuke Nakamura versus Kota Ibushi.
Yes, that's the infamous one where, the Shinsuke Kota Ibushi match is fantastic. Evil
amazing.
Kota Ibushi. That whole pay-per-view, that Hiroshi Tanahashi Okada match where, spoilers for this show, Tanahashi beats Okada and he walks away afterwards crying because that he thought would be his last attempt to win it at the Dome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. And Kenny Omega debuting as the cleaner at the Dome against Taguchi. And the four-way tag at the opening, where you had Red Dragon versus the Hooligans versus the Time Splitters and the Young Bucks. That is a show, like, if you're going to watch New Japan, that's a good first show because you get everything.
I've been watching New Japan religiously since then. It's my favorite thing. I absolutely love New Japan.
And I have no New Japan knowledge whatsoever.
Really?
Like, literally, I know like 4 or 5 New Japan guys. I think Tanahashi and obviously Jay White and like a couple of others like Juice Robinson. But I'm so like not up to scratch on my New Japan. I really need to like. Where would you think? Where's a good place for somebody completely out of the loop with New Japan to start?
Wrestle Kingdom.
Like any Wrestle Kingdom, or just the most recent one, or
probably the most recent one if you're trying to get into what's happening now, I guess.
Yeah. 11. Is it 11? The good thing about like
11 is Okada Omega, the first one.
Yeah, 11's really good. Because the great thing about Wrestle Kingdom is like every championship is defended, and every championship has its own style around it. So like a junior tag is going to be completely different to a heavyweight tag. And because every belt is defended, you get all of these. So like you get your opener, which is 2 junior style. Then you've got the tag match after, which is a junior tag. And then you've got the 6-man tag after that, which is completely different.
Yeah.
You got the debut of Cody Rhodes against Juice Robinson, which is like an old school American singles match. Follow that up with Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly in like a modern ROH style match.
Yeah. So okay, like really very like each match is
Very
different flavor. It's a multi-pack. It's a McCoy's multi-pack of a pay-per-view.
Exactly. And then you've got the main event, which is Okada versus Omega in what is one of the greatest matches of all time.
So that would be the cheese and onion in this metaphor of wrestling matches.
Yeah, and like it gives you an idea of what to expect from a New Japan show. Either that, or if you're going to get into it, if you start around the time of a G1 climax, because that gives you a good idea of where because New Japan, their wrestlers. Tell me if you agree with this, Will. But to me, that gives you a good idea of where the totem pole is on like how people are in terms of like ranking, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
that
It's
at the top
really good.
is going to be the winner of the G1 climax. Then there's a guy who's in the final. Okay, so he's better than everyone under there. It's like a ladder, like a Mortal Kombat ladder, to put into something you might understand, Ben.
It's a very good idea of where everyone stands. Yeah.
Yeah.
So who would be Raiden in this? Like currently, Raiden being the number one guy, I assume in Mortal Kombat.
Kota Ibushi
Kota Ibushi would be
at the minute. They're telling this really interesting. Also, another good thing about New Japan is they tell long-term story. So Okada, since he's lost the IWGP Championship, has been working his way towards winning it again.
Yeah.
And that's his story. And like every single wrestler has their own story. So like Oka and Jeff Cobb are now telling their story about how they're trying to destroy the heavyweight tag division.
Whoa, wait, hold on. Play our outro music. We're going to have to take a quick break because we're running out of time. Do we have outro? There you go.
Come on, Will Jordan.